Hello, fourth grade, Miss Austin here, and I will be reading our first reading in our paper books, Unit 8, called Earth Changes. Friendly reminder, if you're having trouble with the online book that I put a link to, you can go on your Clever app, that's your blue app that we use for Dreambox. Click on the Benchmark Education button on the Clever app. Then click on Library, 4th grade, Unit 8, and you can access the Earth Changes book that way too. So there's two different ways we can read our Earth Changes book. Our essential question for Unit 8, Earth Changes, is how do Earth's natural processes impact our lives? So the key terms in here are natural processes. These are things that happen naturally within our world. So, for example, global warming would not be a natural process of the Earth. That is caused by human impact, releasing greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. Some things that our Earth does naturally that is not caused by humans are earthquakes, tsunamis, and this looks like, I don't know if it's the aftermath of tsunami, I don't know if it's a hurricane or a typhoon, but we're going to be learning about natural disasters this unit. Natural disasters are, there's definitely very sad parts. They're shocking that our Earth does this naturally, but it's very interesting, and it's really important for you guys to learn about because it will impact your lives. We'll see them on TV, we'll hear about them. We are very lucky that we live in Illinois, which is in the Midwest region of the United States, and we don't have very many natural disasters caused by Earth's natural processes like earthquakes, tsunamis, or hurricanes. So that is what we're going to be learning about, and I look forward to this unit with you. It is one of my favorite units. It's fascinating how our Earth does things so naturally that does impact us, whether directly or indirectly. And it's important to know about some of the natural disasters our world has experienced and how we've learned from those and been better prepared for them when they come up later in our lives. So I'm looking forward to this unit, and remember, as we're reading, we're thinking about our essential question: how do Earth's natural processes impact our lives? So now I'm going to read Earthquakes by Kathy Fergang. If you would like to listen to me read this first and then go back and read it on your own, if you want to just listen to me read this, I chose, since you don't have your paper books with you, to use Explain app to kind of zoom in on the text as I read for you to be able to follow along with. You, of course, cannot annotate as you read, unfortunately, during this remote learning time, since you don't have your paper book, unless you go on the Clever app, click on Benchmark Advance, go to Library, 4th grade, Unit 8, and then you can actually annotate on the text on your computer or iPad. So something to think about, but for now, I'm just going to read this to you all. Earthquakes by Kathy Fergang. Paragraph 1. Every day, an average of 50 earthquakes are detected on Earth's surface. Why do some earthquakes cause major destruction while others go by almost unnoticed? The answer is in the amount of energy they release. What causes earthquakes? An earthquake is a sudden movement or shift of the Earth's crust. This thin outer layer is made of many interlocking pieces called tectonic plates. That is an important word, tectonic plates. If you're looking for the definition of tectonic plates, it's right next to it. It's the thin outer layer that is made out of many interlocking pieces. One example I use for tectonic plates is if you've ever eaten an orange or a cutie and you peel off the outer part, that is like our tectonic plates, our crust. So typically when I peel a cutie, it comes off in pieces. It's not perfect. But if I put all those little pieces of the peel of the orange together, it would still make the shape of an orange. That's what tectonic plates are basically. It's the puzzle pieces that make the crust of our Earth, because our Earth has many layers, which we will be learning about. So it's the outside crust. When you hear tectonic plates, I want you to visualize a cutie or an orange in that peel, how you peel it off and it comes up into little sections. So back to reading. This thin outer layer is made of many interlocking pieces called tectonic plates. These plates float on a layer of hot molten rock and move as slowly as fingernails grow. So that's why we cannot feel it, is because it moves as slowly as fingernails grow. So it's very, very slow. And we actually have our ground that we're standing on is a piece of ground that is floating on hot molten rock, like in a lava. As they move, they rub against one another, building up stored energy and pressure. So when we rub our hands together, think of that friction and the heat that makes. As our tectonic plates move, they're building up that heat and that pressure, just like our hands do when they rub up against each other. When these plates shift or collide at their boundaries, an earthquake happens. Earth's surface rumbles and shakes as the energy is released. So when the pieces of the puzzle, our tectonic plates, move too much towards each other, there's a large amount of energy that needs to be released, and it makes a crushing that causes our earth to shake and rumble, which causes an earthquake. So as we can see here in this image, here is our Earth, our Earth in our world, and here are the different plates. So you can kind of see the outlines here are like puzzle pieces. So each of them have a name. So here's the North American plate, here's the South American plate, and they're all like puzzle pieces that fit together to make our Earth. Some of them have land on top of it, some of them just have water. But every place has a tectonic plate underneath it that we can't see and that we can't feel moving, but it is there and it is moving. The Philippine plates, that's where my grandparents live and that's where my mom's from. They have so many earthquakes. I call it the natural disaster capital. I mean, they have earthquakes, typhoons, tsunamis. So the country is surrounded by a tectonic plate. So often there is rubbing or movement within the plates that causes natural disasters to happen. To help you visualize the tectonic plates rubbing against each other, there's this great diagram down here. And like I said, like our hands moving against each other, as we can see here are two tectonic plates moving against each other. They're going in different directions. And what happens here is friction builds and then the energy needs to be released, which causes the plates to shift or collide. So our plates are just those thin layers that sit on top of molten lava here. And since it's floating there, it does move, just like a surfboard floats on water. Our tectonic plate floats on the molten lava, and they move. The caption here says, most earthquakes occur along the boundaries of Earth's tectonic plates. So as you can see where we live, which is Illinois, we're in the center of a tectonic plate, so that's why we don't have a lot of natural disasters where we live, since we're not on a plate boundary, or the edge of the puzzle piece, or the edge of the tectonic plate. I really wish I could be teaching this to you guys in person. It's one of my favorite topics to explain to you all. I know this is a lot of information, and I'm sorry I keep interrupting my reading. I recommend after I read this, you guys go back and read it for yourself to get your own understanding of it, because you know I like to talk a lot. Now getting back to our reading, paragraph 3, measuring quakes. So there is a tool to measure an earthquake, and it's called a seismograph. And so it makes little scribble marks like this as it tracks the earth tectonic plates rubbing against each other and the amount of pressure there is. So it can see that it makes that those scribble lines that you can see in the image above that. So measuring quakes. Scientists can measure the strength or magnitude of an earthquake with an instrument called a seismograph. In one type of seismograph, seismic waves cause a drum to vibrate as a weighted pen records the vibrations. The longer the lines, the greater the energy released by the quake. So if there's a lot of big scribbles, that means it was a big earthquake. If it's little like this, it's just tectonic plates moving a little bit, and there shouldn't be any damage to our cities or our Earth. Earth's changing surface. The movement of Earth's tectonic plates reshape Earth's landscape. So this is really important. I recommend remembering this. It builds landforms such as mountains and valleys and other land features. So Obviously, there is negative impact of our tectonic plates rubbing together, and that's earthquakes that cause damage. But some positives is that when our tectonic plates that are like this rub against each other, sometimes they rub against each other this way. And when that happens, it causes the plates to crush into one another, and it builds them mountains. And that's actually how we got the Himalayan mountains. So all mountains on our earth are made because, well, not all of them, but most of them, unless it was a volcano, is made because tectonic plates have bumped into each other going in the same direction and caused the earth to crush up to build a mountain. So very interesting there. Other landforms that can be built through Earth's natural process of having tectonic plates are landforms such as valleys and other land features. As plates move apart, valleys, rivers, and even oceans can form. The Himalayan mountain range in Asia, for example, was formed when the Indo, Australian, and Eurasian plates came together. The plates collided and pushed upwards, slowly forming the mighty mountain range over the last 10 million years. So it's not like a dramatic thing where it happens overnight where one plate goes this way, one plate goes this way, and boom, mountain range. It's very slow. It takes time. It slowly starts coming together and crushing together. And over 10 million years, we have a ginormous mountain range like the Himalayas. So, such a fascinating read. I really think this is a great way to set it up. I hope you looked at my Earthquakes 101 tab link that I posted to give you more information. We're going to read a lot about different earthquakes. We're also learning about volcanoes this unit, tsunamis, and it's just a really fascinating one. If you have any specific questions, feel free to post them on Seesaw, but I can't wait to continue reading with you all. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll talk to you later.